2 decades of unanswered questions. Good evening, I'm Josh Egbert.
And I'm Anna Manuel. Thank you for joining GTN News. In the second part of our special report, we go back 23 years, looking into the suspicious death of Judy Macfarlane, a Gainesville woman and mother of 4. In
our big story tonight, GTN's Alicia Tarancon spoke with the family who says they're still looking for answers to help finally close this cold case.
In January of 1992, Judy Macfarlane was a mother of 4 young preschool-age children. She was walking home from an evening Bible study, picking flowers in the rain. It was the last time she would be seen alive. Nearly 6 months later, her body was discovered along Northeast 39th Avenue. It was just a half-mile or so from where she lived. A week later, on July 4th, her family laid her to rest. She left behind her sons, James, Christopher, and Michael. She left behind her daughter, Melissa, who was only 11 months old.
I remember Melissa in her bonnet running around the funeral home at 11 months, not realizing what was going on at the time. She was still young. The boys cried a lot in the beginning, you know, where's Mom? When's she coming home? And now they just want to know what she was like.
Her sons were adopted by a family in Canada, and her daughter went to live with a family member in Perry, Florida.
It hurts that she didn't, watch the children grow up, their weddings, their kids.
Today, Judy would have been a grandmother.
And I see their pictures. And James, her oldest, he looks the most like her. I see in his face part of her. And they never really got to know the person that I knew. And Lord knows where she would be today.
Judy Macfarlane was going to school at Santa Fe College. She planned to transfer to the University of Florida, but her life was cut short. Her family believes someone knows what happened.
Maybe they'll remember and they'll come forward, and because they'll have their own family now and their own grandchildren, and they'll maybe see the pain that our family has suffered all of these years, not having the opportunity to have her in our lives.
And 23 years later, that's where Detective Allen comes in. One day he received a very unusual call from Judy's sister.
She said, "Can you tell me what happened to my sister?" And I said, "What is your sister's name?" And she gave me the name, and I'd never heard of it. I've been working cold case here for a couple of years, and that name was not on our cold case list.
Detective Allen dug up her files. Macfarlane's death happened the same year another young woman disappeared. 21-year-old Elizabeth Foster went missing in March of 1992. Her body was found a week later in a shallow grave off Highway 441. She had been raped and severely beaten. 3 years before that, another young woman named Tiffany Sessions went missing. Her body was never discovered.
I realized the proximity to our Beth Foster homicide case that Paul Rolls was responsible for. Paul Rolls was also responsible for the disappearance of Tiffany Sessions.
The Alachua County Sheriff's Office believes both cases were linked to Paul Rolls. Rolls was a convicted serial killer that had moved to Gainesville in the late 80s. He died in prison in 2013, but never confessed to their murders.
And after, with Tiffany Sessions and Christina Powell and all the things that went on in those few years, we wondered, could there be a relation to all of that? Could it be her estranged husband? Could it be something wild and far-fetched, or just a crazy man that drove down the road and decided to pick her up? It's very strange.
Detective Allen says it's one of the reasons why he wanted to reopen the case. But at this time, there's still a lot of unanswered questions rather than answers in the case of Judy Macfarlane.
I intend on conducting a thorough investigation. I've been given authorization to reopen the investigation as a homicide investigation, and we'll see where the facts lead us and where the evidence lead us.
Judy's mother passed away a few years ago. She was buried next to Judy's grave, but she died not knowing what happened to her daughter. And now, after 2 decades, Judy's family is pleading with the public for any information on what happened to Judy.
Reporting in Gainesville, Alicia Tarancon, GTN News.
If you have any information regarding Judy Macfarlane, or if you remember anything from that night she disappeared, call the Alachua County Sheriff's Office and help Judy's family finally get the closure they